அன்பார்ந்த பெரியோர்களே, தாய்மார்களே, இந்த அற்புதமான அரங்கில ஒரு முக்கியமான விஷயத்தை பேசுவதற்காக நாம் அனைவரும் கூட கூடியிருக்கின்றோம். ஆகுட்டி அமைப்பினுடைய ஃபவுண்டர் டைரக்டர் அருமை சகோதரி சிவஸ்ரீ ஸ்கந்தபிரசாத் அவர்களே, மேடையின் மீது இருக்கக்கூடிய நம்முடைய அற்புதமாக பேசிவிட்டு அமர்ந்திருக்கக்கூடிய 55 ஆண்டுகளாக பரதநாட்டிய கலையை அவர் ஒரு தலைமுறையிலிருந்து எடுத்து அன்னைக்கு அடுத்த தலைமுறை சிவஸ்ரீ ஸ்கந்தபிரசாத் அவங்க கொடுத்துருக்குறாங்க. அருமை அம்மா ரோஜா கண்ணன் அவர்களே, இன்னைக்கு நம்முடைய சாய் தீபக் அவங்க எங்க போனாலும் கூட டிக்கெட் கிடைக்கிறது இல்லை. So wherever he goes, you hardly find tickets. People just don't get tickets. I'm sure many of you must have had the same problem. Yeah, such a brilliant speaker, a breath of fresh air, very straight, like piercing an arrow with an arrow, that kind of accuracy with which he speaks. So dear brother Sai Deepak avargale, and all the eminent people who have come here, and very young audience, pretty young audience. When you see from here, you see very young audience here, and possibly that is what we want, people who can imbibe the spirit of being a Bharatiya and take it to the next generation, because we got a lot of busting popular misconceptions to do, and your mind is very fresh, it's fertile, and you have the ability to call a spade, and you are born in a time when India is discovering itself, rediscovering itself, and that is why we are using the word called New India. That is why I feel very happy that the audience here predominantly is very young, and our senior audience here, they're willing to share their experience because they're waiting for such a long time. இத்தனை ஆண்டுகளாக அவர்கள் காத்திருந்தது இது போன்ற ஒரு நாட்டை பார்க்க வேண்டும், ஒரு பாரதத்தை பார்க்க வேண்டும் என்பதற்காக காத்திருந்த பெரியோர்கள் இங்கே அமர்ந்திருக்கின்றார்கள். நம்மை போன்ற இளைஞர்கள் எந்த விதமான பேர்டன் இல்லாம we are reimagining our country. So அதுதான் இப்ப இருக்கக்கூடிய 18 to 35, the greatest gift you have is you don't have any burden. You are completely reimagining how the country should be. And the topic that is given to all of us is think like a Bharatiya. So that is why Sivasri Skandaprasad, after a lot of deliberation, must have chosen a person from the field of Bharatanatyam, a very reputed lawyer, a writer, and a speaker like Sai Deepak, and possibly a politician like me. So each of us can bring different perspectives to this field. And Madam has brought the perspective of art and culture, how it is integral to the whole concept of Bharatiya, which is evolved for multiple centuries over a point of time. And Madam gave a very brilliant presentation, including her personal life, how music, how culture, everything has shaped her as a person in a society, how it is shaping our country also. I would straight away dive into my field where I am in now, politics, and think like a Bharatiya. What has happened, what is happening now, and what will happen maybe 25 years from now, and what is the India that we are looking at. So I personally believe it is important to decolonize our mindset. So this is the time where we have to declutter, decolonize our mindset. And India is that phase, and the phase la naam irukranga konjam konjama the phase la ipa dhaan aarambichirukom. First we are taking out the popular misconception, we are just removing it now. Many places we are rediscovering our culture, many places we are restoring our culture. Step number 3. And step number 4 would be practicing our culture, and step number 5 would be bridging and popularizing our culture. It's a step. It is not going to happen overnight, it is not going to happen tomorrow morning, but you will see in the last 10 years the shift has happened. Many popular misconceptions being removed, culture being rediscovered, being practiced, being popularized, and possibly we will get to the bridging mode. And you are 14th of this month, 3 days from now, our Honorable Prime Minister is in Abu Dhabi. He is inaugurating a Hindu temple there, a land gifted by the sheikhs there, 27 acre. And that mandir has got Lord Ayyappa, Lord Muruga, Lord Ganapati. It has got Lord Rama, Sita Mata. It has got every god from north to south, east to west. What we practice with those gods, how our life is intertwined. So all those gods are inside the temple, which is essentially the Sanatana Dharma. And 14th Honorable PM is inaugurating it. So he's already into the fifth mode. He's already into the bridging mode. As people are talking about discovering, practicing, PM is already thinking about bridging mode. He is in a different country, 27 acres, a temple being inaugurated, 14th of February. But fundamentally, the word secula, which has tied up us for a long point of time. In our history books, the first thing that is taught is be secular, practice secularism. And wherever we want to do something also, they said, oh, this is not secular. And this is a state where a Bhumi Puja is not called secular. And there are some MPs who will come and say, how dare you do Bhumi Puja? This is the land of Dravidians. So Bhumi Puja, we don't accept. So you are wondering, what is the secularism? How did this word secularism enter into our social fabric, or probably misconstructed over a point of time? And multiple generations being made to read thought, this is secular, this is secular. And then we think that is the way we should behave. If we deviate from the norm, then probably people will scold us, or probably we might be away from the pack. The word secular came into a very, very popular imagination. It came into the popular imagination. 1951, the usage of word called secular, first time we see by a British writer inspired by socialist idea called George Holyoake. So he got this first word called secular, socialist ideology got inspired. He got this concept of secular. Then our constitution, when it was founded, when the document was written, Sai Deepak is the exponent of it. I will not get into it, how it was written, why it was written, why it was changed during the emergency, why the word called secular was inserted into it, and probably I'm sure he will touch more on it. After that, the despiritualization started. In a state like Tamil Nadu, it started much before, but rest of the country, it started slightly later, because their culture was holding on to it during the initial rule of the Congress period, 1950s, 60s and 70s. Then when all institutions were attacked together by the concept of secularism, the despiritualization process started one after the other. The Dravidian ideology in Tamil Nadu, when it came, like a brother, it brought deep spiritualization along with it. Now in our yatra, we are going across Tamil Nadu. We have done 198 till yesterday. Today we are finishing 200. Now, this Yenman Yenmakkal is a very valuable experience for me personally, because there are 35 Lord Rama temples in Tamil Nadu, which is 1,000 years old. Inside our state, the geographical boundary, what we call as Tamil Nadu now, there are 35 temples of Lord Rama, which is 1,000 years old. I'm not talking of 10 years or 100 years or 200 years old. Even for Lord Rama to be born, there is a temple in Arani, if at all you happen to visit that part of Tamil Nadu, where Dasaratha Maharaja came. He prayed to the Lord Shiva there, Puttira Kametishvara temple. Dasaratha Maharaja wanted a son or wanted a child to take care of his empire. Even Lord Rama was born in our country after the prayers being offered in Arani. So you go to the temple, you see Puttira Kamateshwara temple there, you see all the history and all the, sometimes some little bit folklore also associated with the temple. When you go to Srirangam, you see Lord Rama's Kula Devata. Kula Deva himself was gifted to Vibhishana, and Vibhishana kept it in Srirangam, which you go and pray now, for which our Honorable Prime Minister recently, before the Prana Pratishta, he made a very important point by visiting Srirangam, by taking blessings from that deity, and then carrying out over the important task that is given to him by performing the role of Prana Pratishta. And then when you happen to visit the Suryanara temple near Kumbakonam, Tanjavur, you happen to see a Gunda there called Jatayu Gundam. That is a place Lord Rama brought Jatayu and performed the last rites for Jatayu. Even now you go there, there is Jatayu Gundam, and people go there, pray and come. So you travel all parts of Tamil Nadu. Maybe we popularly know Lord Ramanatha Swami temple in Rameshwaram. But you go to small towns, you go to Mufassal towns, everywhere, you see Lord Rama's connection in every single part of Tamil Nadu, which is at least 1,000-year old, at least 1,000-year old. Now after the Dravidian philosophy started gaining traction here, the despiritualization process started. Then the state had gone to a level where a particular group thought it fit to put chapel on Lord Rama. So that is the level to which they have taken. So we have to understand why this shift happened and why there are still some proponents in our state who believe in secession, who believe in a separate state, who mock a practicing religion, who mock a practicing culture, who somehow think a person who is practicing a culture that is essential to their way of life, in a way, if I put it, they might say that we are idiots. Now, this is the first important thing that we have to do, remove the popular misconception. That is a very important thing that is available right in front of you, which all of us have to do with a lot of sense of vigor. இதை முதல்ல செய்ய வேண்டிய கட்டாயத்தில் நம்ம நின்றுட்டு இருக்கிறோம். இந்த நம்முடைய கலாச்சாரத்தை மீட்டு கொண்டு வர வேண்டும் என்றால் நம்முடைய கலாச்சாரத்தை பற்றி முதல்ல நமக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கணும். அதை எப்படி இவங்க திரித்து வேறு வேறு காலகட்டத்தில் எழுதியிருக்கின்றார்கள் என்பதை புரிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டும். அதற்கு நாம எக்ஸ்டென்சிவா டிராவல் பண்ணணும். So whenever you find time, you should make it a point to visit all parts of India. Since we are living in Tamil Nadu, நம்ம ஊர்ல இருக்கோம், எங்கெல்லாம் வாய்ப்பு கிடைக்கிறதோ நீங்க நேரம் எடுத்து மைண்ட் ஓபன் பண்ணி ஒரு சென்ஸ் ஆஃப் அவேர்னஸ்ல you should keep observing what is happening. Be it a temple, be it an archaeological finding, whatever it is, we have to find out what is that culture. Because a person who has written a book and that book becoming our textbook should not define how we think. நீங்க பாருங்க, இன்னைக்கு the way we think is some writer sitting somewhere, probably belonging to a particular ideology, writes a book that becomes a textbook and taught to crores of children every year. You do it for 10 years, you can prove a cat is a dog is a tiger. தொடர்ந்து 10 ஆண்டுகள் இதே விஷயத்தை திரும்ப திரும்ப சொன்னீங்கன்னா ஒரு பூனை எடுத்துட்டு வந்து நாயின்னு சொல்லலாம், அதே வந்து புலின்னு சொல்லலாம். அதனால் நாம் இந்த ஜெனரேஷன்ல we have to go beyond textbooks. We got to travel, understand, research, think deeply and connect to all these small places that is connected to our culture. Go there, get inspired. Then probably forums like this, even a tea shop, even a marriage function, even a social gathering, நம்ம பேச ஆரம்பிக்க it will act as a catalyst. It will gain a currency of its own. Then the step one of busting the popular misconception will start happening right in front of our eyes. The great Jawaharlal Nehru, at one point of time, he was very fascinated. உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், even to write the Constitution of India, he wanted Edward Jennings. He said that he should write the Indian Constitution so that you can bring all the fancy ideas that he was used to. Probably when he was educated, he wanted Edward Jennings to come and write the Indian Constitution. Of many good things Mahatma Gandhi did, I think this is one of the greatest things that he did is, he stopped Nehru from calling Edward Jennings to write the Constitution of India. He said it is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar who should write. And maybe it's a tryst with destiny that B.R. Ambedkar ji wrote the Constitution of India, not Edward Jennings. அதன் பிறகுங்க நேரு அவர்கள், he called historian Arnold Toynbee to address the Azad Memorial Lecture. When it was an annual lecture series, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, as the Prime Minister of our country, he invited him in 1960, Arnold Toynbee, to come and address this lecture. I am just quoting what Arnold Toynbee at that point of time said in his lecture in 1960. He said, Aurangzeb converted these temples with the deliberate intention of insulting his political opponents. The same intention which the Russians had in building the Orthodox Church in the center of Warsaw, Poland. So, என்ன சொல்றாங்க, 1960ல, when the issue of Ram Temple was picking up, the old issue, after independence it was still continuing, when there was a lot of disputes about the Places of Worship Act, whether we should restrict it to only that, or we should go on reclaiming all the culture and civilizational glory that we have lost at different points of time. A victor deliberately insulting a practicing religion by putting up some structure because they wanted to convey a message. இந்த மாதிரி பல டிஸ்கஷன் இருக்கும் பொழுதுங்க, peak of the discussion in the Azad Memorial Lecture, he says Aurangzeb converted these temples with the deliberate intention of insulting his political opponents. Nehru, in his own wisdom, chose not to listen to the guest whom he invited in the first place to deliver the Azad Memorial Lecture. நீங்க பாருங்க, even the statue of George V, which was adorning Delhi, was not removed till Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's last breath. ரிமூவ் பண்ணவே இல்லைங்க. அதை ஜவஹர்லால் நேரு அவர்கள் இறந்த பிறகு 1968 ஜார்ஜ் 5 வாஸ் ரிமூவ்ட். அப்போ நம்ம ஆளுக்கு ஒரு சின்ன ஒரு பாசம், ஐயோ ஜார்ஜ் 5 போயிட்டாரு, ஆனா கேனப்பி அப்படியே வச்சுக்கலாம். You see how we are attached to lot of things that is absolutely foreign to us. 1968 George 5 was taken out, but canopy was standing there without anybody. Then he took our Narendra Modi ji step 2 to bring Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose to the same canopy to put it. So in the context nama purinjukanga, it is very important. It is very important to understand the context. When Poland got absolute independence, or probably when it saved itself from the occupation, the first thing Warsaw people and Polish people did is they broke the Russian Orthodox Church that is built in their country. They rebuilt it with Catholic Church, which is their practicing faith. Every country has done it. எல்லாரும் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. A victor, an aggressor who came, who put their symbol as a resistance for a long point of time. All over the world people did it. But India மாதிரி ஒரு நாட்டுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா, it was a very touchy subject. We were never willing to have a conversation or to go deep into it. However, even in the case of George V, remove only the statue, but the canopy should be there. At least canopy பார்த்து கொஞ்ச நாள் சந்தோஷமா இருக்கலாம். Then we have to bring Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose there. இப்ப பாருங்க, இன்னைக்கு ராமாயணா, a state like Tamil Nadu, January 22, even to watch Prana Pratishta, we have to go to Supreme Court in the middle of the night, get an order, and to say people can watch. ஆனா இன்னைக்கு நீங்க பாருங்க, the constitutional monarch of Thailand, the king is the constitutional monarch. He goes by different name. But the English title that is given to the constitutional monarch of Thailand is Rama. Any kings who come, who is the constitutional monarch, the name that is given to the king, the English name by which every other person outside Thailand will know, is Rama X அப்படிங்கிற டைட்டில். Any king who comes. In fact, ராமாயணாவுடைய வெர்ஷன் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, ராமகேன் is very popular, more like a national epic in Thailand. எல்லா பக்கம் நீங்க பாருங்க, look at all the East Asian culture. Small countries fighting vigorously to retain the culture, that probably that culture also went to those countries from our country. நம்ம ஊர்ல இருந்து அங்க போச்சுங்க. ஆனா இங்க the celebration of Ramayana or celebration of Mahabharata, possibly in a state like Tamil Nadu, they think is very alien. இதுதான் very very important part number 2, where we know our culture, we understand where we are, we try to rebuild it. இப்ப part 3 குள்ள போறோங்க, restoring our culture. That is what is happening now. Now we are trying to restore the bits and pieces. We are trying to restore whatever we have lost and trying to bring it to our national consciousness. Now, you look at what Honorable Prime Minister has done over the last maybe 9, now in the 10th year. Taking yoga. Now yoga, International Yoga Day is 1. Now yoga being practiced on June 21 last year across 192 all signatories of United Nations. Gaining popular imagination, trying to understand mind, body, soul connect through yoga. Now this is the very essence of our civilization. Yoga exhibits how our mind, body and spirit, everything is aligned together when we live a life of detachment. இன்னைக்கு இது போதுங்க. இன்னைக்கு our Prime Minister has reimagined again the north-south, whatever the artificial divide is created. Kasi Tamil Sangamam, Saurashtra Tamil Sangamam, the second year of Kasi Tamil Sangamam, first year of Telugu Sangamam, the first year of Yuva Shakti Sangamam. Now all these things are started because it is important we have to cement our culture, not only busting the myth, not only knowing, but putting the culture in action. அது நீங்க காசி தமிழ் சங்கமம், I don't know how many people had the opportunity to come and visit. நீங்க பார்த்துட்டீங்கன்னா தெரியும், தமிழ்நாட்டில் இருக்கக்கூடிய எல்லா ஃபோக் ஆர்டிஸ்ட், பெர்ஃபார்மிங் ஆர்டிஸ்ட், தெருக்கூத்திலிருந்து பரதநாட்டியம் வரை நம்முடைய எல்லா நாடகங்கள், கலைகள், கிராமத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடிய கலைகள் ஒன்றொன்றையும் எடுத்து சென்று காசி தமிழ் சங்கத்தினுடைய மேடையில அவங்க பெர்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணாங்க. Because this is one way to make sure, right from Ramakatha to every single art and form, even some art and form that is present only in a village, that is present only in an area like Kongu area. You go to Kongu area, you see Vallikumi. Or you go to some other parts of Tamil Nadu, maybe that art form is present only in that particular part of that area. Every single thing was catalogued, given an opportunity over 7-8 days, and given an opportunity to present, because the next generation knows this is there, this is part of my culture, and this is not allowed to die down. நீங்க பத்மா விருதுகள்லாம் பாருங்க, பத்ம விபூஷன், பத்ம பூஷன் and பத்ம ஸ்ரீ. Close to 50-60% is given for arts, culture, performing arts and performing culture. 50-60% of விருது அங்க தாங்க கொடுக்குறாங்க. But 20% சினிமாக்கு போயிருது. Rest has gone for social service. Over a point of time, we were very particular. Art, culture, this is the very essence of being a Bharatiya. இதுதான் நம்முடைய essence, because that is where the stories get told. It is not a textbook. Like madam said, Vaijayanti madam, Bali madam வந்து எனக்கு சொல்லி கொடுத்தாங்க. Now I am teaching to our sister. Now this is where essentially the story goes from generation to generation. There is no somebody inside to interpret and write a textbook and bring it to a school so that you understand this is the truth, gospel truth. So art and culture, especially art, performing art, it carries the popular culture from generation to generation without distortion. அது இன்னைக்கு காசி தமிழ் சங்கமம், சௌராஷ்டிரா தமிழ் சங்கமம் போன்ற விஷயங்கள் நம்ம செய்யறோம். G20 மாநாடு பார்த்திருப்பீங்க. Previously, what is the gift you used to give? You must have seen the Honorable Prime Minister giving gifts to all the delegates of G20. என்ன கொடுத்தாருங்க? காஞ்சிபுரம் ஸ்டோல்ல இருந்து, ஷால்ல இருந்து, சாரியில இருந்து ஆரம்பிச்சு, ஊட்டி டீல இருந்து, இந்தியாவில் ஜாகிரபிக்கல் இண்டிகேட்டர் இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு பொருளையும் தேடி கண்டுபிடித்து, whoever came, it was given to them because they should know this is part of our culture, part of being a Bharatiya. And the very first time G20 was taken outside the national capital, Delhi ki veliyanga, 198 functions across close to 100 venues. If they come to Kanchipuram G20 or Mahabalipuram, the food has to reflect that particular area. It's very important. Food is also different. Tamil Nadu மட்டும் நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா 150க்கும் மேற்பட்ட அரிசி வகைகள் இருக்கு. அன்னைக்கு இத்தனை பேர் நாம இருக்கோம். We go to a supermarket, we say give me a bag of rice or give me a jasmine rice or give me a basmati rice. இதுதான் வாங்குறோம். 150க்கும் மேற்பட்ட அரிசி வகைகள் நம்முடைய ஒரு மாநிலத்துல மட்டுமே இருக்கு. நெல் ஜெயராமன் ஐயா போன்றவர்கள் எத்தனையோ அரிசி வகைகளை மீட்டு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. So this is also part of being a Bharatiya. உங்க ஊர்ல, உங்க பக்கத்துல, உங்க தண்ணியில, உங்க சாயில்ல, உங்க பாடிக்கு ஏற்பட இருக்கக்கூடிய அரிசியை நீங்க சாப்பிடணும். It should not travel more than 10 km, 50 km, 70 km. Now it is all becoming a supermarket oriented. This is also we have to declutter. So G20 என்ன எஃபர்ட்டுங்க, எங்க போறாங்களோ அந்த ஊரை சாப்பிடணும், உணவு சாப்பிடணும். So right to that level they have detailed. The G20 not only is taken out of Delhi, the detailed and execution was so perfect to the last point. Wherever the G20 conference or youth summit or any other summit that was happening connected to G20, it was reflecting the ethos of that particular. The beauty of Bharatiya is, this is the beauty of being a Bharatiya. We are so diverse, but we are so united. Every other country will fight, balkanization will happen, they'll split. But எவ்வளவுக்கு எவ்வளவு டைவர்ஸா இருக்கிறோமோ அவ்வளவுக்கு எவ்வளவு we are united. அடுத்து பாருங்க, the Prime Minister has made an effort, especially with respect to our Tamil culture. Statue of Thiruvalluvar in France, Houston, Tamil chair in Houston University, or Lord Mahakavi Bharatiyar அவருடைய ஒரு இருக்கை வந்து காசியில பெனாரஸ் ஹிந்து பல்கலைக்கழகத்துல. So he keeps doing all these things because everybody from other parts of India should know who lived in other parts of India and who is important to our culture. இதெல்லாம் பாருங்க எவ்வளவு கேர்ஃபுல்லா ஸ்டெப் நம்பர் 3 our Honorable Prime Minister is executing to perfection. காசி விஸ்வநாத் காரிடாரா இருக்கட்டுங்க, மகாகால் காரிடாரா இருக்கட்டும், கர்தாப்பூர் சாஹித் காரிடாரா இருக்கட்டும், இந்தியா அண்ட் பாகிஸ்தான், அது இனாகிரேஷன் ஆஃப் மாதா சாரதா தேவி டெம்பிள் இன் காஷ்மீரா இருக்கட்டுங்க. So everything is bringing our culture back in a form that we need it now. So சில பேருங்க, if we travel outside the country, not only we are restoring our culture inside the country. Next Sri Lanka போங்க. So there are Ishwaran temples across 5 corners of Sri Lanka. ராவணா அவங்க கட்டின கோயில். Now we are restoring one after the other all the 5 temples around Sri Lanka. Tiruketishwaram is restored by the government of India's grant. It is gifted to the people of Sri Lanka as a grant from India. அது பண்ணியாச்சுங்க. அடுத்து திருக்கோணேஸ்வரத்தை நோக்கி நம்முடைய அரசு சென்று கொண்டிருக்கிறது. So not only are we doing it in our country, We are also going outside the country. Now this is step number 4, where we talk about not only practicing but also bridging and popularizing. Now we all have to understand at a very important point of time in India's history, the next 25 years is going to be very important moment, because right now the popular misconception we have broken. We are reimagining our culture. We are taking it to the masses. And more importantly, we are expanding and bridging it. So that is the point we are living in. The resistance is also quite high, because the forces that was operating till now, இத்தனை ஆண்டுகளாக எந்த பிரச்சனை இல்லாம ரெசிஸ்டன்ஸ் இல்லாம இருந்த forces எல்லாம், now they have to unite together. Naturally, they all have to unite together. They all have to come and attack. They all have to come and say, no, this is Hindutva. No, this is something. This is RSS version of India's culture. So this is the time when we as citizens, we start having small conversations, not big conversations. Some of the eminent people who are sitting in the front row, sitting here, they do their duty by having big conversations. Television studio, Periya Forathla, in front of 10,000 people, they speak. But to get this thing done, it is important. The small conversation happens in millions and crores. Rent pair, family kulla, society kulla, college kulla, canteen kulla, or a book launch function. The small conversations 10 people, 15 people should have among themselves by saying, look, this is happening. Look, this is my temple. Look, there is an important archaeological, historical place here. This is the connection. Look, and even when we invite our friends, if at all you have to suggest a good tourist place outside Chennai to your friend. Yesterday our Padayatra 195th constituency was in Kanchipuram. Uttarameru, so you go there, you see a Kulothunga Chola times inscription there, 10th century, 1100 years before. Small, a village kind of town, 3 rivers surrounding that village. Very beautiful, very pristine, very serene place. If you have the time to go to that Vaikuntavasi Varadaraja Perumal temple, Kulothunga Cholan has put inscriptions around the temple. You just have to take their time to observe. He has put 3 inscriptions about how election should be conducted. We are talking of 1100 years before. The first inscription talks about who can contest an election. The second inscription talks about how election should be conducted. The third inscription talks about after a person is elected, how can you remove him? So 3 things. If you have the time to go and read it, you'll be so fascinated. The concept of democracy 1100 years back, he has etched it there. Probably when we are shifting from Mannarachi to Makkalachi, when that shift was happening at different points in our country, in Bharat, he has put it. Now I will just take a couple of minutes to explain what is written in that inscription. You will feel so beautiful. Now suddenly they talk about India's constitution was copied from so many people. We have taken inspiration from Ireland. We have taken inspiration from Britain, and so many things they talk. They say a person who has to be in political life has to enter politics after 30. Until 70, he has to be in politics. And the whole place is divided into 30 wards. Each ward will have one elected member. A person can become an elected member only once in their lifetime. Only once. And the period is exactly 360 days. 360th day you are outside. Once you are in public life, one time, getting the member of that ward, you can never stand for election in your life. And on the point, they had 5 different variums there. A temple varium, a canal varium, a garden varium. So you are a member of a varium for 1 year. There is a 3-year cooling off period. Then you can become a member of ward. So which means in your life, you can be a member of varium once. You can be a member of ward once. There are 35 crimes they have mentioned. If you have committed any of those crimes in your lifetime, you can never contest for election. And after you have won the election, They have listed another 17 misdemeanors. You have done the 17 mistakes by being a representative of public, then you will be kind of impeached. So there's 3 inscriptions very beautifully, the fulcrum of democracy. Just about 1.5 hours from here in Kanchipuram districts. You go there, you read it, you come. இந்த மாதிரி சின்ன சின்ன இடத்துக்கு நம்ம குழந்தைங்களை கூட்டிட்டு போவோம். நாட் டிஸ்னி வேர்ல்ட், நாட் திஸ் பேர் சொன்னா அப்புறம் மேலே டிஃபமேஷன் சூட்லாம் போட்டுருவாங்க. நாட் திஸ் பிளேஸ் வேர் சம் ஸ்னோ இஸ் தேர், நாட் சம் பிக் மால்ஸ். ஸோ நாட் தோஸ் பிளேசஸ்ங்க, ஸ்மால் பிளேசஸ் அரவுண்ட் அஸ். Take them, take our children there, show them, make them to read, connect them to our culture. Then they understand, oh, the essence of Bharatiya means that we have to be democratic in nature. And being democratic in nature doesn't mean shutting down somebody's voice. And being democratic in nature means, so they will understand everything, we got to be spiritual. And every single thing, when we take our children to places, make them to connect, make them to read, make them to listen, I think we groom them for the next. We travel less. As Indians, we somehow have the feeling we are traveling more. No, we are traveling very less. Our forefathers traveled more. Catching an airplane, landing in Delhi, attending a conference, catching an airplane, coming back to Chennai doesn't mean we are traveling more. So this generation is only clocking air miles, are probably clocking train miles. But we are a very poor generation in terms of traveling. அப்போ நம்ம ஒரு சாய்தி பக்கம் வச்சுக்கிட்டு முன்னாடி இருக்கக்கூடிய நல்ல மனிதர்கள் எல்லாம் அமர்ந்திருக்கிறாங்க. There is our very, very eminent friend. Every day you see him in the TV talking very loudly about our civilization, our glory, our culture. So இவங்களுக்கு நாம ஹெல்ப் பண்ணணும், சப்போர்ட் பண்ணணும். To accelerate their thought process, it is important as Indians we have to travel more. We are not traveling. And for us the concept of holiday is take, even within India, go there, book a nice resort, relax, some sightseeing, some beach, maybe what is that, they take this parachute kind of thing there and go down and they say I had a good holiday. Ramba tappu pandranga. I think we are making a big mistake to our children if we think that is a holiday we are giving. Take them to a place, make them to eat a local food. Local food. அந்த ஊருடைய கம்பு சாதம், அந்த ஊருடைய சோள சாதம், அந்த ஊருடைய மில்லட்ஸ், அந்த ஊருடைய ராகி. நான் ஏற்கனவே சொன்னது போல 150க்கு மேற்பட்ட ரைஸ் வெரைட்டியில் ஒரு ரைஸ் வெரைட்டி அந்த ஊரில் கண்டுபிடிச்சு அங்கே இருக்கக்கூடிய நேச்சுரல் ஃபுட்டை ஒரு எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ், ஒரு எக்ஸ்ப்ளோரேஷன் அந்த குழந்தைக்கு. ஸோ when the children comes back, he will keep, or he or she will keep thinking, oh, some new thing. He will come and tell somebody in the school, நான் எங்கே போனேன் தெரியுமா? இப்போ ஸ்கூலில் சில்ட்ரன் என்னங்க பேசுகிறாங்க? நான் ஸ்டோக்கிங் போனேன் தெரியுமா, நான் டிசி வேர்ல்டு போனேன் தெரியுமா, நான் இங்கே போனேன் தெரியுமா, அங்கே போனேன் தெரியும். ஸோ லெட் அஸ் மேக் அ கான்ஷியஸ் எஃபர்ட் டு திங்க் லைக் அ பாரதியா. டேக் அஸ் அவுட் சைட் த ஷெல், கான்ஷியஸ்லி ட்ராவல் மோர், connect to all the historical places, accelerate the thought process of Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, who thinks this is the time to grow with our cultural intact. So கண்டிப்பா அது நடக்குங்கிற பெரிய நம்பிக்கை எனக்கு இருக்குங்க. So this is very important event because Āhuti is not only into performing space, but today or maybe multiple days they have decided, let us have a forum like this, invite people, make them to talk what they think, bring young minds here, award some prizes also for children who have done some good work, and probably spread this word, accelerate the process so that we become a true Bharatiya. Maybe in the near times, not, we are talking of not even 20-25 years later, in the near times. With this, I thank Sister Sivasri for the great opportunity that she has given me to come here and sharing stage with my dear friend Sai Deepak. And we are very, very sure we are on the cusp of change. Even Tamil Nadu is on the cusp of change. We just have to wait till 2024. We just have to wait till 2024. The elections in 2024 will be a proof that our state will give a decisive mandate. So whatever they have spoken over a long point of time. So let us be patient. Let us keep doing that groundwork without any expectation, so that our future generations will live a great life. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.